Kaylee, all sides are unequal in measure. No two sides are congruent. So you might see markings, 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks, because they're all different. Isosceles triangle says at least 2 sides are congruent. When it says at least 2 sides, that means there could be more, so we'll talk about that in a second. There is a vertex angle, and this is the angle between congruent sides. And then there are base angles. These are angle or angles opposite the congruent sides. So, let's name this angle C, L, and W at the vertices. So the vertex angle in this example would be angle L, right here, if I make these sides congruent. So angle L would be your vertex angle. And then it says your base angle is angle opposites these. And there's something I want you to put there to not forget. Base angles are always congruent in an isosceles triangle. So I can mark these up. That means angle C is congruent to angle W. So don't forget, in an isosceles triangle, base angles are congruent. The angles opposite the congruent sides. Last one is equilateral. All sides are congruent. So we can mark this up. Now here's where I want you to be careful, because isosceles says at least 2 sides are congruent, but an equilateral triangle could be considered isosceles because there's at least 2 congruent. That means the angles, base angles are congruent, and because this is equilateral, all angles add up to 60 degrees. So this is also equiangular. So don't forget, if it's equilateral, all sides are congruent, all angles are congruent, and it's 60 degrees for all of these. Okay? All right. That's the basis. Now we apply our knowledge. It says find x in the measure of each side of the triangle. It says DEF is isosceles, and notice here it says the vertex angle is D. So you would sketch yourself a picture. If D is vertex, you know these are congruent, you know these are congruent down here, and we can put E and F wherever, because it said that D was the vertex angle. We know that DE is x plus 7. We know that DF is 3x minus 1, and EF is 2x plus 5. Well, because we know this is isosceles, we know that DF has to equal DE, and we are given their measures. So we'll set x plus 7, and I flip-flopped them, sorry, equal to 3x minus 1. We will solve for x. 7 is 2x minus 1. And remember, you can always pause these, try them, and then go and see if you have them correct. When we divide, we get 4 is x. The question said, find x. We did that. And now the measure of each angle. Well, we knew that DE was x plus 7. So DE is 4 plus 7, so DE is 11. DF is congruent to that, so that has to be 11. So the only other one we need to know is FE. FE or EF is 2x plus 5. We put a 4 back in there. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 5. So we know that EF or FE is 13. Okay? Let's head to the back. Once it turns, there we go. The triangle angle sum theorem. Now you're not going to use this in a proof. It's just knowledge you should know. The sum of the measures of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. That's something we've already talked about this year. But the next two definitions, make sure you have these clearly defined, and if you get confused, email me, and I'll help you. Exterior angle. This is the angle formed by one side of a triangle and the extension of another side. Formed by one side of a triangle and the extension of the other side. So in this picture over here, angle 1 is your exterior angle because it's formed by this side of the triangle and this extension. So that is exterior. The second thing is the remote interior angles. These are, whoops, sorry. Get rid of that highlighter or pen. Okay. The interior angles of a triangle not adjacent to a given exterior angle. Interior angles of a triangle not adjacent to a given exterior angle. So in this picture, angle 2 and angle 3, these are your remote interior because they are not adjacent to the given exterior angle. Okay? So make sure you know the difference between exterior and remote interior. And the last theorem for today is the exterior angle theorem. Now we're not going to use this in a proof, we're just going to use this and apply it to math problems. It says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum, so the one exterior angle, equal to the sum, which means you're adding the measures of the two remote interior angles. Measure of angle 1 is measure of A plus B. So here's A, B, here's A. If you add those two up, that's equal to the exterior angle. Now I'm hoping that makes sense to you guys, because if you think, let's just make this 110. If that is 110, you know there's a linear pair there, which means this angle here and this are supplementary. So that's 70. So this has to be 70 degrees, which means this 110 has to be these two angles out here added up, because a triangle has 180 degrees in it. I hope that makes sense to you, right? Because this one plus this one have to, plus this one have to equal 180. Think about that for a minute and make sure you understand it. Okay, so the last ones we have here, number 2, says find the measure of each angle. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Right here, this is kind of blurry, so I hope you have a copy in front of you. There's a triangle, so I know 66 plus 58 is 124, which means the measure of angle 1 would have to be 56, because they add up to 180, which means the measure of angle 2 has to be 56 because they are vertical angles. And then in this triangle over here, you have you have 56 for angle 2. You have 50 in the corner there, which is 106. So the measure of angle 3 would have to be 74, because 106 plus 74 is 180. All right. Over over here, I notice this is an exterior angle, and you just learned that the exterior angle is the measure of the two remote interior angles added up. So 55 plus 70 is 125. So the measure of angle 1 is 125. Right here, 55 is here, which means angle 2 has to be 55 because they are vertical angles. So put a 55 in here. And to find the measure of angle 3, you could do it several ways. We just learned that this 150 is exterior. So 55 plus angle 3 have to equal 150. So if I take 150 minus 55, I get 95. And that is the measure of angle 3. Yes, there's other ways to do it. If you have another way, that's fine. And number 4. So this is one I would pause it and try it on your own and come back and see if you've got it. Again, this looks pretty blurry on here. This is an 80 degree here. This is a 60 degree here. So to find this exterior angle, measure of angle 1, these two add up to 140, which means they're this exterior angle, so that's 140. The measure of angle 2 is supplementary to 1, so that would be 40 degrees. Then we have this exterior angle right here, 105. 105 minus 40 would give you 65 for the measure of angle 3. 65. Measure of angle 4. 4 is supplementary to 105, so 4 would have to be 75. And then to find the last one here, the measure of angle 5, that would have to be 40 plus 75, because those are the two remote interior, which is 115. And the last one says, the diagram shows an example of the Pratt truss used in bridge construction. Use the diagram to find the measure of angle 1. So there's a right angle here. That means there's a right angle here. This would be your exterior angle. And this is 90 degrees. So 145 minus 90 degrees will give you 55. So the measure of angle 1 is 55. If you have any questions, make sure to send me an email and I will help you out. Good luck!